gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's December the 5th, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined by the whole team tonight because there's all kinds of stuff going on. Izubee Charles to my left, Stephen Wagner. Stephen, smile for all your fans out here, your growing legion of fans, and the great Matt Shodell that nobody can live without at 5 a.m. in the morning. And we welcome you as we once again discuss the news of the day, presented today by Caneswear, your headquarters for all of your Miami Hurricane holiday needs and needs in general. Caneswear, the largest Miami Hurricane store ever created. You can check them out at their physical store at 2655 University Drive in Davie, or you can go to caneswear.com and visit them there 24 hours a day and get all your Canes gear for your friends, your lovers, your pets, your birds. I mean, they have Canes stuff for anything and everyone that you could think of. And we'll talk more about Caneswear later. But guys, the transfer portal is now open for business. And woke up yesterday morning, did this show, went running to my computer, kept hitting refresh all day, all night, looking for those blockbusters in the transfer portal coming and going that were going to make us go, wow. And Matt Shodell, since you were my partner in crime in that exercise, I would say we didn't find a lot to go wow about. Like, a few nuggets here and there, but it didn't have that great sizzle that maybe we would have hoped when you consider that well over 1,000 kids entered the portal yesterday. And also the other thing I want to talk about is no Miami Hurricanes that we saw went in the portal. So not a lot of activity on the first day of the transfer portal. Matt, lead us away, man. Your thoughts.
I tried to go in the portal myself and get out of doing this show, but apparently there is no transfer portal for Good Morning CaneSport, unfortunately. Look, if a top and plenty of top players are in the portal, okay, we've already been breaking down tons of quarterbacks that are already in the portal, and there's probably a lot more to come. But the reason why it feels quiet is the NCAA is really, really cracking down on tampering in the portal. They're really looking at that. And if somebody goes in the portal and is on a team the next day, you're going to have the NCAA breathing down your neck. So coaches at these different schools, they know where they stand with these portal guys. And, Miami wants to be in a sea of secrecy in the portal and in recruiting, and it drives fans crazy. But, it's also fun for fans to speculate, hey, what about this guy? What about that guy? And, at the end of the day, we're going to have a better idea later in the week who's visiting this weekend. And that's really when we're going to know, okay, here's who Miami actually wants. Because I've already talked to a couple of different portal people, some of who both actually have Miami offers, and they're working to set up visits, but I think they're back burner guys at this point. It's just somewhat hard to tell. Once those players are actually on campus for an official visit to Miami, that's when okay, Miami really wants this guy. And the guys that they really want, they're going to try to get them on campus this weekend and close it down. Because right now, Mario Cristobal and this coaching staff is dealing with the portal. They're dealing with recruiting. They're dealing with preparing the team for a bowl game, bowl practices, the normal student-athlete stuff where they have to get their grades and you have to be on top of all of them to make sure they remain eligible and all this other stuff. Figure out who on your team wants to leave. Talk them out of it sometimes. Things like that. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy, crazy time of year to be a college football coach. So, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things going on. And I think at the end of the day, Miami's going to wind up with close to double-digit portal people. I don't think that in the Matt Shodell book of free agency, there's going to be more than 4 or 5 free agents. They're getting fairly expensive, like some of the dinners my wife forces me to go to. And, and we did, by the way, shout out to an Orlando Cane I saw at Madruga Bakery. He was very nice. He agreed with me that Gary Ferman's annoying. So, he's already on my good list. So shout out to him and his wife who were there. But yeah, like in general, it's just wait and see. Like Gary's right. There's nothing really to see right now. I mean, there was no commitments from a portal guy. Everyone thought that yesterday was going to be the quarterback of the future was going to be announced for the Miami Hurricanes because the portal's open. But it's not like the portal in Marvel Comics where there's a hole in the sky and the spaceships immediately fly through and start attacking the Incredible Hulk. Like, the Incredible Hulk is taking a nap right now. He'll wake up like on Thursday or Friday, and then we'll sort of have a much better idea. So I would encourage fans to keep checking back and clicking because we need the ad revenue. God knows we need the ad revenue. So keep checking back and clicking. But, if I'm being honest, probably Thursday is when we'll have our first news.
Well, I said earlier there was not a lot of Miami Hurricanes activity, and there wasn't. Like, nobody went in the portal, and that's kind of interesting because our reasoning has been that they need spots, which means if they're going to have spots, they need guys to go in the portal. If guys don't go in the portal, they don't have spots, and the four of us might be on the whole visit list for this first weekend of recruiting with all the commits lined up for the weekend of the 15th. So, we'll have to see how that evolves here over the week. I've heard some little tidbits. I've heard, Matt Lee toying with the idea of going to the NFL. Miami trying to up the ante NIL wise to talk him out of doing that. Of course, there's other guys that are probably right on the edge, like Kiko Manoa, I guess I'm supposed to say, and they're going to have to do a decent NIL deal for him. So they're balancing those needs with obviously looking at their portal budget for guys coming in. And like we said, we didn't see a lot of guys popping in the portal that are worth a whole lot of budget.
By the way, you say people aren't going in the portal from Miami. Some of them are going to be second-time transfers. And to be a second-time transfer and not have your career end, and you have to hopefully date a Dolphins cheerleader to live the rest of your life successfully, Izubee. It's an inside joke. But basically what's going to happen is when you graduate, there is no more portal date for you. Once you're a graduate, you can transfer wherever and whenever you want. You don't have to go in the window. So Miami will have a semester ending in December, and there's going to be some second-time portal guys who didn't pan out at Miami that will have graduated that then can just transfer whenever they want. It's not like, oh my gosh, there's a drop-dead date. And by the way, you can go in the portal the last day of the portal being open. And, it could be in December 30th, December 31st, whatever it is. And you can enroll before the first class of the spring semester, before the first class of the fall semester. That's allowed. It's just once you're in the portal, then you can take your time and enroll whenever, So I don't know if people really understand how the portal works. You don't have to have found a home by the end of the 30-day window that started. You can find a home whenever you want. You just have to be in the portal by the last minute. You have to be in the portal by the last minute, the last day. That's all it is. So there's no mad rush where why didn't Miami people leave? We need all these spots, which they do, and they'll have them.
All right. So thank you so much for clarifying that and all that information. But can you please do us a favor and leave Izubee's love life out?
Because I live vicariously through Izubee.
Oh my God. If you want to, like Steven's, no holds barred. Okay, you can, but please leave Izubee alone, will you? All right.
This is what I heard. I heard that Steven is pretending to be a Dolphins cheerleader online and is catfishing Izubee. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
I'd have to shave.
All right. So we get up. It's portal day. We're all excited. We get up. We're on the computer. We were done taping the show about 5:30 a.m. And get on the computer. Start saying, "All right, let's go, man. Let's start seeing some action in the portal." And of course, the biggest thing we're looking at is quarterbacks because that's what Miami needs. Okay. And here's what I'm seeing all day long: Jonah Chung from Hawaii, Tanner Bailey from God knows where. I don't even know what might be South Carolina. Christian Hunt from I think San Diego State or something. Talon Green, Soljay Maleva from BYU. Athan Kalikamananis from Minnesota. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Kasen Wiseman from some other school, I think Colorado. AJ Duffy from Florida State. But I mean, like on and on and on. All these quarterbacks are going in the portal, and I'm not seeing anything that the Miami Hurricanes would be remotely interested in. And the first question I have is, what school do all these kids think is going to want them? Okay. Like, you have over 1,000 kids in the portal. Who are their parents? Your kids, your children are going to be out of college football. Okay. There are not spots for all of these guys in the portal. I know it sounds sexy and everything, but their careers are going to be over. Okay. That's number one. All right. So that's my PSA.
But by the way, everyone wants to know who Miami wants to get. I think Cam Ward is the home run hitter. I mean, that's the guy they got to get. After that, it's just like it's like another Tyler Van Dyke, a Tyler Van Dyke who can run a little bit. A guy who can't throw like Tyler Van Dyke, but can run pretty well. Like they got to get that kid. That's my opinion. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Everybody's thinking the same thing. And you got Lincoln Riley flying to Kansas to see Will Howard. Look, there are some good quarterbacks in the portal. There's, Cam Ward.
That's my guy.
Amazing. He is the guy. He would be the perfect fit for Miami. But who knows? Dylan Gabriel used to be at UCF, now at Oklahoma. He's leaving Oklahoma. He's obviously a high quality player. Will Howard, Kansas State, good enough for Lincoln Riley to go from USC to Kansas to see him. Riley Leonard from Duke, expected probably to go to Notre Dame, but that was the latest scuttlebutt we saw. Kyle McCord, who was good enough to be the quarterback for Ohio State. He's in the portal. DJ.
Well, they think that's because Cam Ward's going to Ohio State, by the way. So.
It could be. Could be.
That'd be very upsetting. Miami's got it. This is it. Like, you have all this money. You're touting your NIL. You got to get, you can't let Ohio State get Cam Ward. Miami needs Cam Ward. That's what we need. We need a quarterback who can do everything. Like, that's what they're missing.
Yeah. I would take Will Howard too. I mean, Will Howard.
He's a distant second to Ward to me, but he's above a lot of the other guys. I agree with that.
We have a breakdown on the website today on Dylan Gabriel as well. I mean, would not be a disaster if you land Dylan Gabriel. Kyle McCord. I mean, listen. I mean, an Ohio State castoff, would he be good enough? Matt, I think you took a hard look at Kyle McCord. What were your thoughts on Kyle McCord?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan.
Not overwhelmed?
No, I made my list. I put in my order, I put Ward first, and then a distant second, I put Gabriel and Rodgers, Dante Moore, and then Michael Pratt if he does transfer, and they're all pretty far ahead of McCord. McCord, he just. Sorry, I still have my cough. He didn't play, really the competition and have the results that you want. 76% grade or whatever. It was his first year starting, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I guess, to me, it's just okay.
But I could go on, and I won't.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say he didn't play the competition. Obviously, they played the competition. I mean, he didn't have the results that you really want to see in a top quarterback. And he was actually probably, McCord was probably going to get benched potentially for the bowl game also. They were having a competition for the bowl starter.
There's other names on there. Will Rogers from Mississippi State, I personally think is pretty good. But, what if Miami can't land any of these top quarterbacks, guys? I mean, what do they do? I mean, Steven, you were at Chaminade and talking to Cedric Bailey the last few days. You went to their game the other night. You were back on the Chaminade campus yesterday. And, Cedric Bailey obviously is a kid Miami has offered and is trying to get. Also wouldn't hurt if he brought Jeremiah Smith with him as well. But so they might get a second high school quarterback if they could flip Cedric Bailey from NC State, but they need to find a starter right now so that they don't have to rush Emory Williams into a role that he's just not ready for. And I know we're going to roll Ja'Carri Brown out there against Rutgers, and he may or may not stay in the big picture. But I don't feel that anything that happens against Rutgers, which does have an okay defense, right, Matt? You looked at them a little bit. Their defense, Greg Schiano's always going to put a representative defense on the field, but I'm not sure I'm overreacting to anything that Jakari is going to do against a 6-6 team in a meaningless bowl game on a baseball field where Babe Ruth used to squat. Well, actually, he was at the old Yankee Stadium, but the point I'm making is, like, I'm not gonna overreact to anything that happens in the bowl game. What if Miami doesn't get one of these top tier transfer quarterbacks, Izubee?
Like my dad said, you're cruising for a bruising because it's gonna get real ugly if that's the case. I feel like that has to be priority number one over anything right now. You got to get your guy in that portal because we've seen. Last year, a lot of people like to say, Miami was a quarterback away from this or a quarterback away from that. But hey, if you get a guy that you really, really like, obviously Cam Ward is, 1A, the number one guy by far. I agree with Matt wholeheartedly. He's a guy that would come in, play that 1 year, and kind of be that spark that you need, that you see, a few teams around the country have, that transfer quarterback comes in. But I think if you're Mario Cristobal and everybody, you got two priorities, coming out of December. One, get your quarterback, and two, get Jeremiah Smith to flip to Miami. And then if you do those two things, people will be real happy in Coral Gables. So you get that quarterback, and I feel like that'll be a big boost for Miami next year if they get a guy that they really like, a free agent rather than a transfer, like Matt would say.
Well, a lot of these big name guys have been in the portal now for several days, and we're not hearing a lot of Miami buzz on any of them. So I'm getting a little concerned. If one of them were coming to Miami, I would think that we would be getting hearing some buzz. We're not. And that's leading me to think that Mario Cristobal might have something out there in his back pocket. Matt mentioned earlier in the show, coach has got to be really careful. The NCAA is watching for tampering. You can't show your hand. You cannot, start. I don't know if talking is the right word, but you can't start buzzing transfers before they're even in the portal, or else people are going to start crying tampering and stuff. So I got to think that maybe there's something brewing somewhere that we don't know about yet. We'll see how that goes, but it's going to be a little antsy here for a while. People are going to be anxious about what's happening at quarterback because it's just not a position that's totally together. And so, Stephen, I mentioned you've been hanging out at Chaminade. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith is out there without question. You've talked to some of the other Chaminade guys as well. But you're out at Chaminade yesterday, and Billy Gonzalez, the wide receiver coach for the University of Florida, was out there with you. My guess is he wasn't coming to say, Stephen, come join the recruiting staff at Florida. I'm guessing he was out there to see Jeremiah Smith, confirming what we already knew, that everybody wants Jeremiah. What's the latest buzz at Chaminade? They've already got Saquon Patterson. They've already got JoJo Trader in the class. They're trying to flip Cedric Bailey. They're trying to get Jeremiah Smith. Give us an update on the latest buzz out at Chaminade after your visit yesterday.
Yeah, there's quite a bit going on out there. As you said, Miami has really marked Chaminade as kind of like one of its primary targets for this year. And when I say that, I mean like they're almost basically targeting the school at this point, because you're talking about wanting the number one overall prospect and JoJo Trader and Zaquan Patterson and Cedric Bailey in the list. It feels like this list basically just keeps going on and on. But Miami is picking up some momentum for this guys. Or for these guys. There's been a little bit of steam lately that Miami may be positioning itself better and better for Cedric Bailey, who currently is committed to NC State. That's just kind of been a little bit the buzz that we've been hearing. Then Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, Miami is not going to give up fighting for him. They actually paid him an in-home visit over the weekend. It sounds like things went pretty well. Him and his dad had the chance to meet with Shannon Dawson and Kevin Beard. I know we talked about this on Good Morning CaneSport yesterday, but Miami is starting to make a little bit of a move for these guys. Now, obviously Jeremiah's recruitment is going to come down to the end. Cedric is pretty much going quiet this week while he goes ahead and prepares for the state championship game. And then it's expected that, he'll start to be a little bit more vocal about things next week after they go ahead and finish the state championship game. JoJo Trader is expected to continue to take several official visits to different schools, including Georgia and Tennessee, I believe. He's going to go ahead and take those official visits that he initially probably would have over the summer, but he didn't. So right now, it's looking like he might be taking like 2 or 3 visits all in the span of about a week or so. And that's going to include his official visit to Miami on December 15th. Miami, I think, is still in very good shape here. I think Miami's definitely the team to beat. And quite frankly, I think it would come as a little bit of a surprise if he didn't end up being a Hurricane at this moment. But certainly he's keeping the door open for a lot of these other programs because he understands that there are a lot of other schools that really, really do want him. Zaquan Patterson, on the other hand, I think he's a guy that we all feel a lot better about. He has more or less basically kind of shut things down. He knows he wants to be a Hurricane. He's really excited about it. Everyone that I've talked to around him has all said the same thing. Pretty much nothing's happening on that front. That Zaquan is probably going to end up coming to Miami after all, and it'd be pretty surprising if he didn't sign with Miami on signing day. Both of those guys are going to be early enrollees too. But this is a full court press for Jeremiah Smith, and it's also a little bit of a press for Cedric Bailey. Now, I know that a lot of people in the boards have been saying, if we get Cedric Bailey, that means, we must be getting Jeremiah Smith. No, not at all. In fact, I would be very surprised if Jeremiah's decision with where he signs is tied to the decision that any player makes. I would be really, really surprised if Jeremiah doesn't act in the best interest of Jeremiah, as opposed to deciding, I think I just kind of want to go play high school football, or I want to go play college football with my buddies instead. Like I said, I would be really, really surprised if the decision of Cedric Bailey has any impact on the decision of Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. All right. And we've got all kinds of recruiting insight and scuttlebutt on the website today. A couple other things I'm going to talk about in a minute. But first, you just saw the wisdom of Stephen Wagner. And I mean, you got to go times 3 or 4 when you talk about Izubee. So, if you want to have the benefit of all of this insane knowledge and insight on a daily basis, I got to tell you about our special offer right now, available only on Good Morning CaneSport. You use the code CANES1 when you join CaneSport.com. And if you're not yet a subscriber, we really, really would like to see you come join our community of fans. We got a great batch of Canes fans on our site. And we work our butts off every minute of every day to enhance your fan experience. Well, you can get your first 2 months for $1. Normally, we do $1 for the first month, but if you're watching this show and you're putting up with Matt Shodell on a daily basis on this channel, you get an extra month for that same $1. How about that? So go to CaneSport.com, join right now, use the code CANES1, and come be a member of our site. We would really appreciate it, and would like to have you with us, not just in the morning, but throughout the day as well. And then, of course, I got to tell you guys about Caneswear, the largest cane store ever created. Let's start by taking a quick look at the new Canes.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
And of course, Caneswear, it doesn't matter what you want. They got t-shirts, jerseys, hats, polos, hoodies, flags, all different sizes, men, women, kids, babies, and they will even dress up your pet. No joke. So you can get your pet a holiday gift at Caneswear. All sorts of specials for the holidays. Go to caneswear.com. Visit the store itself at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. It's right down the strip center from where they used to be. Move to a bigger location. You will absolutely love it. You can shop them 24 hours a day at caneswear.com. So 2655 South University Drive in Davie or caneswear.com. Go get yourself some holiday gear for yourself, for your significant other, your kids, your family, your pet, your coworkers. Dress everybody up in Cane stuff for the holidays at Caneswear. All right, so I mentioned that we've got all kinds of recruiting scuttlebutt on the website, and we're pounding it all day long. Shoot, Izubee and Steven, man, they don't come up for breath. I mean, it's just from one story to the next. But one of the things, Steven, that you've been working on is Zay Mincy. And this guy is a potentially elite defensive back, guy that we've been following for months now. And it's starting to look very much like Miami is doing very, very well there. And we have a story on the website. You'll see it talking about how the Hurricanes nailed their in-home visit this week with Zay Mincy. Steven, you spoke to his mom, who gave you glowing reviews of what they saw when the coaches visited. Give us a quick synopsis of what people will find when they read that story on the website.
Yeah, so basically the quick elevator speech would be things did go particularly well, as you said. They had a chance to sit down with mom, grandma, and Zay's dad, as well as his older brother, who actually plays Division I football up at Alabama State. They had a chance to sit down with all of them. Things went really, really well. And it's starting to look more and more like Miami is gaining very real steam and very real momentum for Zay Mincy. He's the number 23 overall prospect in the country. He's the second highest rated uncommitted prospect left in the entire country. The only guy higher than him is Jordan Seaton, a 5-star offensive lineman over at IMG. Mincy has been one of the fastest risers in this year's class. He started out as kind of a middle of the pack 4-star. Now he's all the way up to being, just a few points away from being a full-fledged 5-star recruit. So this would be absolutely massive. Lance Guidry, Jason Taylor, and Jamal Adai all had a chance to get out to Zay's house and get a chance to meet with him one-on-one. He also hosted Florida State and Alabama for in-home visits on Monday. So there's still a lot of competition for him. It's starting to look more and more like, maybe Florida isn't doing quite as well for him as they were earlier. There were a lot of really good vibes around Florida. It kind of felt like earlier. Now I'm not so certain that, that's still exactly the case. But Miami is due. I think that there are a lot of reasons for Miami fans to be pretty optimistic about the direction this is headed in. And want to remind everyone, he is silent committed to a program right now. He's silent committed to either Miami, Alabama, Florida State, or Florida. And the plan is that he is going to secretly go ahead and sign a letter of intent on National Signing Day on December 20th. And then he's going to publicly make that announcement on January 6th, where he actually is going to end up going to play college football at.
And that'll be at the Under Armour game.
Right, correct. That is going to be at the Under Armour game because he wants to have the full reveal with the hats on the table and all of that good stuff. Right now we really can't do much besides be patient. Although I was told that right now it is starting to feel like wherever he is silent committed, whichever school that is, it's starting to feel more and more like he's honing in on that school as the place where he feels like he could spend the next 3 to 4 years. So whichever school that is, it's sounding like that's the school. It's sounding like that's the school that's going to be in a particularly good position for him. But the plan is going to be that next week, the family is going to go ahead and sit down and they're going to make their final decision, say, okay, this is where we want our son to spend the next, 3-4 years of his life. And after that moment, things are more or less going to be shut down. He's going to go ahead and lock in and he's going to go ahead sign his letter of intent, and then we all just wait for January 6th and the Under Armour All-American game.
All right, and there's a bunch of other recruiting stuff on the website today. We've got an update with three-star offensive lineman Juan Minaya. He's a Miami commit. We have an update with Chris Wheatley Humphrey. He got an in-home visit from Tim Harris. Talks about his status, his standout season. We got an update with Cole McConaughey, a late addition here to the Miami recruiting class, but this guy is a sleeper, man. This guy's just a pure football player. And I don't know if he'll be a linebacker or if he'll stay an edge, but he's the guy that plays with a motor and could be one of the hidden gems in this recruiting class. Remember that a couple years down the road when he's out there kicking butt. Say, hey, that's the guy that Gary talked about on Good Morning CaneSport. We've got an update on Isaiah Thomas, three-star safety. He's committed to the Hurricanes. So just a lot of recruiting coverage as well as transfer portal coverage. We mentioned that a couple guys that don't have big names, but they got Miami offers now. We've got stories about them on the website. Louisiana Tech wide receiver Cyrus Allen and Vanderbilt safety Savion Riley. So you guys can check that out. And I stress that you stay on the website all day, all night, because we are constantly pounding updates out there. There's constant breaking news on the portal in particular, and we are trying to bring as much of it to you as we can on an hour-by-hour basis. So stay tuned to CaneSport.com for that. And the other thing I should mention is, of course, we got the Pinstripe Bowl coming up on December 28th. Everybody get fired up for that big bowl game at Yankee Stadium against 6-6 Rutgers. Man, I'll tell you, this is brutal, man. I mean, people were giving me a hard time because of stuff I said about this game yesterday. I couldn't really get fired up for it. You want to play a 6-6 team at Yankee Stadium, which is 25, 30 minutes from their campus, maybe 35 from their campus. And it's their Super Bowl. I mean, like, they were out practicing yesterday when Miami was announced as their opponent in the Pinstripe Bowl. They were already practicing, okay, for the bowl game. Okay, Miami's not practicing yet for the bowl game. So Rutgers wants this one badly. This could make their season. And it's going to be a challenge for the Hurricanes with all these comings and goings. And you got Jakari coming in to play quarterback who hasn't played football in a year. You got guys going to the NFL. Not sure who's playing in the bowl game, who's not playing in the bowl game right now. A little bit of a tough environment to be thinking about playing football in 15. No, what am I talking? 15. Today's the 5th. We're playing the 28th. So we got 23 days to get ready for the Pinstripe Bowl. And, you know, obviously not even close to being ready for that. So, we'll see how that goes. But there is going to be a press conference today with both coaches. We'll be all over that, and we will be bringing that coverage to you at CaneSport.com today. But that's going to do it for this morning for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much for starting out your day with us. For Matt Shodell, Stephen Wagner, and Izubee Charles, I'm Gary Ferman. Have a great one, everybody, and we'll see you next time.